Intelligent design is an abductive inference to the best explanation, not an argument by analogy. The theory of intelligent design, ID, posits that certain features of the universe and of life are best explained by an intelligent cause, rather than by undirected natural processes. A common misconception is that ID relies on argument by analogy, that it simply compares biological systems to human-made artifacts and, based on similarities, infers a designer. However, intelligent design is not an argument by analogy. Rather, it employs abductive reasoning, specifically, inference to the best explanation. This reasoning evaluates various potential explanations for the functional complexity and functionality we observe in the natural world, concluding that intelligence provides the most coherent and probable cause for such features. 1. Understanding abductive inference and its distinction from analogy. To clarify the distinction, it's useful to define both abductive inference and argument by analogy. Abductive inference. This is a form of logical reasoning that seeks to identify the most likely or plausible explanation among competing hypotheses. Abduction involves evaluating the evidence and drawing a conclusion that best accounts for the observations. Argument by analogy. In analogy, we compare two things based on shared characteristics and infer that if one thing has a certain trait, the other likely does as well. While analogy can be persuasive, it has limitations, as it relies on similarity rather than causative reasoning. Abductive inference, however, assesses multiple explanations to arrive at the one that most thoroughly accounts for the observed data. Intelligent design, therefore, is not about assuming that biological systems are like human-made objects. Instead, it argues that an intelligent cause is the best explanation for certain features in nature, based on what we know about the conditions under which complex, specified information and functional systems typically arise. 2. The structure of intelligent design as an abductive inference. Intelligent design operates as an inference to the best explanation, a form of abductive reasoning commonly used in science and philosophy. Here's how ID applies this reasoning structure. Observation. ID begins with empirical observations, such as the information-rich structure of DNA, the fine-tuning of physical constants, or the irreducible functional complexity of molecular machines. These features are characterized by specificity and functionality. Possible explanations. ID then evaluates potential explanations for these features, including chance, necessity, and intelligent causation. Evaluation of explanations. Each explanation is assessed based on its ability to plausibly account for the observed features. For example, random chance and physical necessity are unlikely to produce highly ordered, specified information or finely tuned systems due to probabilistic and mechanistic limitations. Inference to the best explanation. Finally, after assessing the likelihood and coherence of each explanation, ID concludes that intelligence is the most probable cause for the specified functional complexity observed in nature. This reasoning process does not rely on a comparison with human artifacts but rather on direct assessment of the causes known to produce complex, specified information and purpose-driven structures. The conclusion of design is not based on resemblance to human designs but on an inference grounded in empirical evidence and logical analysis. 3. Specified functional information and the limits of chance and necessity. One key element of ID's abductive approach is the presence of specified functional information, SFI, such as that found in DNA. DNA's sequences are highly specific, analogous to a language or code, which directly influences biological function. The specificity and functionality of this information go beyond the capabilities of undirected natural processes. Random chance. The probability of random processes generating functional sequences like those in DNA is staggeringly low. For instance, the likelihood of a 150 amino acid protein forming by chance alone is practically zero, given the astronomical number of possible sequences compared to the few functional ones. Physical necessity. Physical laws determine many aspects of nature, but they do not dictate specific DNA sequences or the arrangement of biological systems. Laws can explain why proteins fold in certain ways due to chemistry, but they do not explain the origin of the informational content in the sequences. After examining these alternatives, intelligence emerges as the best explanation, as intelligent agents are the only known causes that routinely generate complex, functional information. The abductive inference, therefore, identifies design as the most plausible source of DNA's information-rich sequences and the sophisticated systems we see in biology. 4. Abductive inference in science, a common methodology. Abductive inference, or inference to the best explanation, is a foundational method in scientific reasoning. For example, paleontology. When paleontologists discover fossilized footprints, they infer that an organism made them, as natural processes like wind or erosion would not create such specific patterns. Forensics. Forensic scientists analyze evidence at a crime scene to infer the most likely cause of death. They consider multiple possibilities but focus on the one that best fits the data. Astronomy. Observing unusual movements in stars and planets has led astronomers to infer the presence of unseen forces or objects, like dark matter or black holes, as the best explanation for these observations. In these cases, the conclusions are drawn not by analogy but by evaluating the evidence and identifying the most coherent explanation. Intelligent design applies the same reasoning framework, observing the features of biological systems and deducing that an intelligent cause is the most probable explanation based on what we know about the sources of specified information and functional complexity. 5. Better than analogy. While analogy has historically played a role in arguments for design, it is limited in its explanatory power. Analogical arguments can be useful for illustrating points, but they do not provide a causal basis. In other words, analogies highlight similarities but do not account for why or how a particular feature exists. Intelligent design does not depend on analogy to human-made objects. The functional complexity and functionality of biological systems are assessed on their own merits, leading to an inference based on the causes most capable of producing such outcomes. The conclusion of design is not because biological systems look like designed artifacts, but because they exhibit features that only intelligence is known to produce, such as complex, functional information. 6. The distinction. Intelligent design as a logical inference. The key difference between intelligent design as abductive inference and argument by analogy is this. Analogy infers similarity without establishing causation, whereas abductive inference evaluates multiple causal explanations to determine the most capable one. By drawing on evidence of biological information and functionality, ID does not start with an assumption that life looks designed, and then find resemblances to human designs. Instead, ID examines empirical data and follows a rigorous method to determine the most likely cause, concluding that intelligence is the best explanation based on what we know about the origins of specified functional complexity and functional systems. Conclusion. Intelligent design as a reasoned abductive inference. Intelligent design is not merely an argument by analogy but a reasoned abductive inference to the best explanation. Through a systematic evaluation of evidence, it concludes that intelligence provides the most capable cause for the specified functional information and functional complexity observed in the biosphere. This approach aligns with scientific methodology, which uses inference to the best explanation to draw conclusions based on observed evidence. By following a logically consistent path that assesses all possible explanations, intelligent design emerges as a compelling and rational framework for understanding the origins of biological functional complexity. Rather than comparing life to human artifacts, ID offers a grounded inference that intelligence is the most coherent explanation for the features of life that we observe. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts. If you would like me to respond to your comment, please make a level 1 comment directly below the video. I will respond to all polite level 1 comments even if it takes me a while, due to other commitments.